Risks are inherent in all workplaces, including office spaces, construction sites, or even working off-site. Conducting a risk assessment before commencing any work task will enable you to take a step back to thoroughly identify all the hazards in the work process. Let's take a look at a scenario where a risk assessment wasn't conducted. Will spontaneously decides to go on a field trip to collect some specimen for his PhD project. With no plans at all, he drives off to Risk National Park. Arriving at the park, Will is suffering from extreme weather conditions. Finally, the weather got better and he then commences to collect some specimen and unfortunately gets hurt in the process. In pain, unable to treat his wound because he didn't have a first aid kit, he proceeds to drive home when the sun has set and encounters a wildlife. He veers off the road to avoid the wildlife and his car strikes a tree. He tries to get help using his phone, but the phone does not have any reception and is also on low battery. It looks like Will is going to have a long night before he can get help. His trip was ill prepared. In the next scenario, Will decides to go on a field trip, but this time he'd rather be safe than sorry, and he plans his trip including conducting a field trip risk assessment. Once he completes his risk assessment, he consults with his professor and they both review the risk assessment together. Now Will is ready to go on his road trip. Before he drives off, as detailed in the risk assessment, he checks the weather forecast, informs the professor of his plans, and then packs essential items such as food, satellite phone, suitable clothes, and a first aid kit. He arrives at the Risk National Park and slaps on some sunscreen and keeps himself hydrated. He then puts on his PPE gear and collects his specimen. Will watches the time to make sure there is plenty of daylight so he can drive home safely. Will spots a wildlife while driving home and slows his car down to allow the wildlife to pass. Will is ecstatic as he managed to get home early to have dinner with his family and they enjoy talking about his adventures. As you can see, the two different scenarios is made different due to one simple action. Although conducting a risk assessment is a legal requirement, the benefit here is clear, ensuring you come home safely to your loved ones. Thanks for watching. For more assistance with risk assessments, contact Jenny Tran, or to learn more about risk assessments, check out our other video.